Hi everyone, I'm Fabio SantoS. I'm here with Corey Goode. Corey, first of all, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
And we're here to announce that Corey will be with us at Experience 2020. It's the event, the first time that we are doing in Brazil, the most important disclosure event in Latin America for sure, and we couldn't be doing that without Corey's presence, right? So thank you. Corey.
You're right, thank you. It's my first time coming to Brazil. I've been invited consistently over the last 3 or 4 years. It's just never worked out. And the location you're having it at is such a beautiful location, and I've wanted to get down to Brazil for so long. I'm very excited to be a part of this.
Well, that's really nice. And we are doing that at Florianopolis. Mm-hmm. It's a beautiful island in Brazil. Brazilians call that the magical island. And we have lots of portals and interesting stuff there.
Yeah, we were talking about there's also some ancient artifacts that are close by, which is a huge draw for me and a lot of people that follow my information. So, yeah, I'm excited about getting to see some of those local ruins.
Well, we were definitely going to see that. And we have one of these speakers is a specialist in the ruins of the place, so at near Ramos. So we'll have a really special tour guide.
That's awesome. I wish I would have been able to talk to this person before we did our last movie. I'd love to have included him.
Well, maybe in the next one.
In the next one, indeed.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So Experience 2020 will be in Florianopolis, Brazil. Next year will be in September, 18th, 19th, and 20th of September. And you can access the website that we're putting right here, experience2020.com.br. Don't forget the BR, Brazil. And Corey, you said that you've been wanting to come to Brazil for a long time. So the first question is, what do you know about Brazil?
You know, I don't know enough about Brazil, about the culture and the history. You know, Brazil did pop up on my radar when I was in the programs.
Okay.
Just because of the number of former Nazi secret space program type people that had migrated to South America, and how, you know, I had spoken publicly before about a massive underground base that's there that you know, a lot of people have become aware of. And also, I've heard information not only about ancient ruins that very few people have seen in the north or the west. It also happens to be the location off the coast of where the Anshar city is, deep under the ocean, underground. And there's also one of the groups that they're associated with, another inner earth group that is also not far away. In the Brazil region. So there are a few reasons why I'm excited to come down to Brazil.
Well, that's really interesting. I think it's the first time that you're talking about this Anshar city on the coast of Brazil, right?
I spoke about it on a weekly show that David Wilcock and I used to do together.
Oh, okay, all right.
I mentioned it on that, and I think I've mentioned it in a lecture or two, but I haven't gone into much detail, but I could possibly do that while I'm at the event.
Okay, and can you tell us a little bit, where is it? Near or Brazil has a pretty large coast, right?
I showed you on your smartphone.
Okay, can I say where it is?
You can,
okay,
yes.
it's right out at the coast of São Paulo, the state of São Paulo. So, and the
a
direction
ways out into the ocean.
Yeah,
like,
well, like
90 kilometers or more.
Really, yeah, in the deep there, but it's it's more or less out of the coast of the city of Santos, for people who are actually familiar with the cities of São Paulo and everything. So.
Yeah, they have a city that's miles and miles underground or under ocean, but in a cavern. This cavern is so large that it's like the state of Texas in the United States. It is, you cannot see where it ends, and it has its own weather system. The moisture gathers into misty clouds up at the top of the cave, and inside the cave on the walls is this type of lichen that eats the stone, and as it does, it releases bioluminescence. So it causes like a source of light, very dim. in the area, and you know, there are a lot of different interesting animals down there, very small, usually albino looking animals. But the Anshar have thrived in that area for millions of years, and I was taken on a tour and I got to see how they raise their food. They're really big into high vibrational food, which I'm into as well, something I speak about, and that is super important to them, having, you know, high vibrational food. So I got to see how they raise their crops, and I also spent 3 days down with the Anshar last year, and I learned a whole lot. They were trying to teach me about what we're going to go through in this ascension cycle. You know, we have all of these different ideas about what's going to happen, and you know, they've been explaining that it's just a major expansion in consciousness in a way that we all begin to connect. That's what fourth density consciousness is. We just become more connected, and we start looking at all of our problems much differently, and we start finding all of these solutions all of a sudden. And we begin to connect on a much more intimate level as people. It'll be a very confusing time, but
Sure.
It's a time, it's already starting to happen. People are getting confused, they're having all these different connections, they're having relationships they used to be in that are just kind of falling to the wayside because, you know, they've changed so much in this process, this awakening process. So a lot of these things are things I hope to talk about when I'm down there.
Okay, well, that's amazing. You talk about the Anshar, so I'll just shoot the question. We were together at Dimensions of Disclosure last August, and you and David were on stage, and David mentioned something that was not common that much at that time, and I would like to ask you. David said that you had an encounter with the Anshar, and that they said to you that we are going to have full disclosure in 3 years. So I would say 2021, 2022. Can you please talk about that?
Yeah. Well, I don't fully agree with the 3-year assessment David gave, but what I was told is that we had an opportunity, timeline-wise, to have disclosure occurring within 3 years. Not full disclosure like we want, but a lot of drips of disclosure that are meant to distort what's really going on. It won't be a lot. It'll be like 80% or 70% truth, but 30% of disinformation to keep us from knowing about the more sinister side. They're going to want us to think of angels and that type of thing when we associate ETs spiritually with anything. They don't want us to associate them with demons, which many of them, quite honestly, really are. And some of the angelic beings that we've encountered are higher density extraterrestrials. So, you know, we just didn't have the vernacular back then to describe as something being from another world. But what I was shown by the Anshar is that at a certain date, there's a giant solar micronova that occurs.
Okay.
And when that occurs, it knocks out the electricity and technologies on the planet Earth. And up until that point, we had been receiving some disclosures. We knew about ETs coming a long time ago, maybe here and there in the present. But after that, all of a sudden, all of these ETs begin to descend from all over the planet. It looks like stars falling.
Okay.
And they're behaving like a cosmic Peace Corps. They're our cosmic cousins. They're coming here to save us. Without electricity, many millions of people would die. You know, no water pumping and disease, all kinds of stuff. People would die very quickly. So they come down to assist us, and at that point we have what we consider full disclosure. They bring us technologies that help us heal. They bring technologies. Not only that, they bring information about the true cosmic history, and we begin to find out how special we all really are.
Okay. Is this possible timeline, or is this the timeline that we are in?
This is, you know, the Anshar. They're not from another planet. They're from another time. They're from thousands of years, if not more, in our future. And while they were doing their meditations, they started having these weird Mandela effect sort of things about their history. And then they viewed the timeline and they saw that 17 million years in their past, the reptilians had found a way to travel back into time and were messing with their timeline to try to destroy them. And so this is a giant timeline war. It's a time war. It's not a space war that's been going on. And so, yeah, that's...
Okay, so that's what they saw in this timeline.
Yes, that's what they saw in their past,
Okay.
which they're hoping will be our future, because they want us to fulfill their timeline so that their history remains intact. Otherwise, one or two instances that break this timeline, the Anshar could never exist.
Okay, and we hopefully, and it appears so. This Anshar timeline, or the timeline that the Anshar are fighting to happen, is a positive timeline for us, for humanity.
It is. It's eventually a positive one, but it starts off with a lot of stress.
With the solar flash.
Yeah, with the solar flash, and you know, the past that they experienced, or their experience was that the good people and the bad people were all here on the planet. The solar flash occurred. The electromagnetic field exploding from the sun affected our consciousness in a way that all the positive people just blissed out and start becoming these fourth density people connecting, and all of the negative people just degenerated. They became worse and worse.
Okay.
And they started forming their groups, and then the positive people started forming their groups and kind of separated for a while until some healing was brought about from our cosmic cousins visiting us that brought them to, that allowed them to catch up.
Okay.
You know.
So just to check if I understood with the 3-year thing. So disclosure is already happening in a certain way, right? Mm-hmm.
And
what they're pretty much saying is that in 3 years it will accelerate very much. It will not be 100%. It will be a little bit controlled.
Right.
Disclosure.
Right.
But it would be very different.
But it would be significant.
Okay.
Significant.
All right. So that's good. We're hoping that it can be earlier than 3 years.
Yeah. Well, there are a number of programs. I won't name who they are, but academy groups that are working directly with the DoD and the CIA to release certain things in a certain way. And you know, I've kind of gotten in their way a couple times. I leaked a couple of DIA documents that talked about wormholes and faster than light travel, and it was something that they were hoping to leak, but I leaked it first. And there's kind of a little disclosure war going on between the military-industrial complex. They want to put their narrative out, very controlled narrative, and the secret space program groups that I've been working with, they want full disclosure to occur. They think that you're ready to hear the entire truth about everything, while most on the planet that are running it don't believe that. And it's not that they don't want you to know, it's that they don't think you can handle it. They honestly believe if this information came out, society would collapse. We would all start being like monkeys flinging poo at each other again. That's, you know, they really believe that.
Okay, that's interesting. And I heard you saying in one of your last videos that the alliance has been quiet for some time, right?
Yeah.
Is this strategic? Is something big coming?
Yes, a number of big things are coming, but you know, they should have come already. There have been setbacks.
Okay.
But yeah, there have been a number of setbacks for the alliance. A lot of them, if not all, have been discovered by the cabal groups because they used artificial intelligence to break into a number of databases and real sneaky ways. You know, the alliance thought that they had a pretty good firewall against all of that, but it turned out that this AI was able to defeat it.
Okay, right. That's really interesting. Well, talking about the future. So, what are your projects, or what are you doing for? I know you have a movie coming this month.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right.
The Cosmic Secret,
yep.
which we just talked to 1099, and it looks like it's going to be translated into Portuguese.
All right.
Yeah, so I'm very happy about that. Definitely in Spanish as well. It releases November 19th. They may push it back a week to get a couple other things taken care of, but it releases the middle of this month. We're very excited about it. It has a very spiritual connotation side to prophecy, ascension, and disclosure. It's something that I think people of Brazil are really going to like. I'm also working on a feature film with a large platform that we hope to be able to announce maybe at the end of this year, early next year.
All right.
We are speaking with A-list actors, and we already have A-list directors and writers that are heavily interested in being a part of it. So, we're really trying to do everything we can to bring this information to the mass consciousness through mass media. Putting out videos like we're doing now are great. Doing conferences are great. It brings people together. It nourishes their soul. It regenerates them and gets them ready to go back out and do their mission. It's awesome. But we're preaching to the choir. These are all people that are awake and ready to, do the mission. If we want to start to seed the consciousness, we have to find ways with science fiction, documentaries, all of these different ways. And in your country, wherever you are, you should do the same thing. This is the best way to affect the mass consciousness and to seed it with positive information. That's something the cabal has been doing for decades with television. Television was the best thing that ever happened to the CIA. They started, just controlling the way we think. Yeah, we have some very exciting times ahead of us. A lot of interesting projects, and we plan to also step up. We've released 2 documentaries now over the last 2 years. We plan to step it up. We're beginning to have investors come in that want to be a part of seeding the mass consciousness, and some of them are coming in. They're very excited. We would like to do 2 or 3 documentaries a year and a few other projects as well to be able to really get this information out in a big way to huge platforms, and platforms that have subscribers from every country.
Perfect. That's amazing. Corey, and you have also the comic, right?
Yeah, the graphic novel. We had some difficulties with trademark dispute.
Okay.
And we've gotten that taken care of, and now we've gotten most of the art done. We're ready to put it together into the graphic novel, but we've brought in some. Hopefully, we have some new people coming in that are well-known directors from animated movies, Disney, Sony, those types of things, that are really excited about coming in and helping us finish it in a very interesting way that will also allow us to animate it. And we have a lot of ideas for doing animations as well. We should have a new date published soon for when the graphic novel's coming out. For all the people that have waited, it's pretty late. All of the people that have been patient and waited, we're going to give them, most likely a free subscription or membership to a course that I'm about to do here pretty soon. The course I'm going to do is about how to transition from 3rd to 4th density consciousness. What can we expect in that transition? What can we expect from those around us as we change and grow, and what happens to those types of relationships? There's a number of things like that I'm going to talk about in a course, and we're probably going to make sure that they have access to that, since they've been very patient.
Nice, really nice, Corey. It's an individual effort, right? We have to search for ourselves, right? For our true ourselves, but
the only way out is in.
Yeah, perfect. But we shouldn't be doing this alone. We don't need to do this alone, right?
No,
we can get together.
Yes, we have all of the other star seeds, that I'd like to describe it, and I do so in the comic book, that, where you get a picture almost like an arena, but it's like a ship that's a higher density ship out in space, and down where the arena is, you see this planet floating, and it's Earth. And we're getting closer and closer to it, and someone says, all right, this is our next objective. We're all going to go down in several waves, and we'll forget, just like all the other planets, you'll forget who you are. You'll forget what your mission is. You'll forget what you are. But you'll go down, you'll go through hell, that will be your boot camp, and it will train you for your mission, and then you will remember who you are and what your mission is. And then you will all start coming together behind enemy lines, so to speak, and fulfilling your missions together. And that's what, you know, this event is going to be like. It's where tribe comes together, and like I said, we nourish our souls, we get other ideas about how we can go out and do our mission, and it's a very good way for all of us to get together and just reboot, refresh, and get ready, you know, for the mission again.
Perfect. That's exactly what we are doing at Experience 2020. We will have Corey Goode with us. And, Corey, my last question: what can we expect from your presentation next year?
Some new things. Many people know the last year that has been a crazy year. In the last 2 or 3 years, I've had 4 very close family members die. You know, my father, my stepfather just passed away. My father's on hospice. He will probably pass before the event. We've had massive coordinated attacks coming at us. We even had people try to frame us for things to try to get rid, you know, just horrible things. And it's really affected, you know, my vibratory state over that period of time. And it got to where the Anshar and these other beings stopped visiting me because they couldn't tune in. But they helped me very recently make some breakthroughs to deal with, you know, it's very important to try to, in a harmonious way, which is what I've had problems with because of the frazzled state of everything, is, you know, to nurture relationships, to heal relationships that are damaged, toxic relationships, kind of remove yourself from so you can focus and not have your energy disturbed. You know, and so you can, and also to be able to focus on all these little things about yourself. In the last year, I've had all of these things pointed out to me. And of course, you know, I thought I had done all of this work, and I had, but the last year, the stress of it all, it pointed out all these little things that I'd been ignoring. And so I've learned a lot through that process of kind of awakening to the darker aspects that you ignore, that you need to deal with on the inside. And the Anshar have been coming back and visiting me again and been giving me some very, very wonderful insight into fourth density consciousness, about burning of karma, how our higher self puts us through periods of burning karma, which is basically what I had gone through. A lot of people on my team are going through, people, my family members, others around me. Everyone's going through the same thing. Everyone's having a very difficult time right now with relationships, with their own feelings, things they haven't dealt with. So what I see as turmoil, when I talk to the Anshar, they call them opportunities. You know, opportunities to address relationships, to address things within yourself. And it's a lot easier to address things within other people. And you can get caught into a reactionary mind cycle, especially when crazy things are happening. And throughout this process, it's been hell, but I've learned a lot. And there's a lot of information that they've imparted to me that I look forward to bringing into my new course, into some of these movies that we're doing, as well as the event that I'm presenting.
Perfect. Great. Corey, once again, thank you very much for your time. And we hope everyone can join us at Experience 2020 next year, September 18th, 19th, 20th in Florianopolis, Brazil. And you can access the website right here. We're going to put right here, experience2020.com.br, okay?
It's going to be a special time.
Oh, we will, definitely.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Bye, guys.